was never the one to write up a song for just
Welcome to part 1 of creating my cottage garden. I've been so excited to begin the transformation in this section of my garden. In today's video, we'll be doing a lot of digging, a lot of planting, and adding whimsical cottage decor.
pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make
I really want to fast forward to wearing a cute dress and walking around having my coffee in the garden, but we do have to start somewhere, and preparing the area and doing all the groundwork has to happen. So I spent a few days removing the grass. It's so high maintenance. There was a mix of crabgrass that looked terrible, so I wanted to replace it with clovers since they are so resilient, drought tolerant, and really healthy for the soil. So a few weeks ago, I tossed some seeds in the area and got a lot of sun, and they grew pretty quickly.
finally learned my lesson. 'Cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you make
I do have some empty areas, and I'll be adding more seeds to try to get the entire ground covered later on.
baby.
I wanted to have some more structure mixed in with my informal garden, so I planned to add some more defined spaces and create planting beds bordered with hedges. So to mark the area for the hedges, I used what was around the house. So some old chopsticks I was going to toss and added some notches to them and used some yarn to mark the areas. So I did use blue yarn so the dogs wouldn't trip. And I think it did work because they never ran into the area.
Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.
I've tried to curve the middle area of each planting bed so that as the hedges grow, the middle becomes more circular in shape. The next step really made me sweat. I've been working in the evening when it's cooler, but that really means 90 degrees when the sun is setting and the mosquitoes are out. But I picked up some winter gem boxwoods since they are the only ones sold at my garden center that grow from 2 to 3 feet tall. The other varieties of Japanese boxwoods get a lot taller, so these were perfect since I wanted to keep them smaller. And after placing all of them, I started to get really motivated since things were finally happening in the garden. I could finally start to see the layout in my mind in real life. So I worked through the evening to plant all the hedges.
Find myself lost in long conversations, oh, 'cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you keep on waiting. But then you came along and proved me all wrong. I was so mistaken, 'cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.
I also wanted to add some height to the entrance. I have 2 gorgeous David Austin rose trees. They have flowers that open up to like an apricot shade and fade to a light yellow, then to almost white. And they have a really fruity, sweet scent that is so good. I can't stop myself from smelling them every time I pass by. My local nursery also let me know that the leaves were showing signs of stress and they needed to be repotted. So it was perfect that they were going to go in ground and they would be a lot healthier.
Oh my sweet baby.
And after taking a step back, I realized there was so much green between the clovers and the hedges, and I felt it would be better to have some contrast. So I did get a bit sidetracked and started placing some extra bricks. I had to create a curving pathway. Since the sun was going down, I ran back to finish planting my roses. I love the beauty of gardens and I'm learning every day and always asking the experts for advice. I checked with the nursery on how to properly plant my roses, so they just suggested mixing soils with manure and mycorrhizal fungi when planting. The fungi is good for root growth, nutrient uptake, disease, pest resistance. I'm constantly learning how to garden, how to be a better gardener. So don't be scared to do something new. We all learn from mistakes by constantly doing research on Google multiple times a day. How do I do this? So be curious. There is knowledge out there, and there are people that are so open to share.
I was never the one to write up a song for just anyone. I was always the one to find myself lost in old conversations. Oh, 'cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you keep on waiting. But then you came along and proved me all wrong. I was so mistaken, 'cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby. I was never the one to give up the ghost. No, I was so stuck, I kept on playing.
The next day, I focused on creating a pathway. Seeing the area with no defined path felt like it was really missing something. I wanted to make the path look like it's been forgotten, old, like it had a story to give it some character. So I left gaps between bricks and had some parts of the path end and restart. I also left some spaces for clovers to grow between the bricks and had the path curve, so when we do add our fountain, the path will be surrounding it. I do need to go back and add more bricks, fix the way some of them are laid out. I did work in the dark, and that's probably one of the reasons I do need to go back and fix parts of the path.
Rest of our time, and I know it so well. I will always be by your side. 'Cause you glue all the pieces.
The next day, the path was done and my overalls were worn out. My body was definitely aching from all the bending and digging, but I needed some decor to go in the area. I felt like I needed to see my vision a bit better. So I added some stakes to hold up the shrub and pruned some of the shoots back to clean up the area and make space for this stone bench we picked up at an estate sale. And it is so heavy, so I definitely needed Tan's help.
Oh, my sweet baby.
And I added this swan planter I thought would look beautiful on the bench and filled it with salvia, alyssum, and primrose. So that was the last thing I could do this evening. As you can tell, the light was already going down.
I was never the one to write up a song for just anyone. I was always
the next day I added some baskets. I thrifted and lined them with coconut husk and filled them with salvia, alyssum, and lysanthus.
But then you came along and proved me all wrong. I was so mistaken, 'cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take.
This side felt so sad and empty, so I decided to add a taller bench to help with the separation between this section and the planter boxes in the back. Since I didn't have a cushion for this bench yet, I'm using it as a mini potting station until I do get one. Cottage style is always about collecting and decorating with things you love and resonate with your personality, adding beauty and happiness to a space that just makes it feel like you. And that's what really pulls me to cottage style.
'Cause you glue all the pieces back together. you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me.
Once we add the trellis to this pergola, I'll be able to plant these climbing roses, but for now I'll place them where I want to plant them. I also wanted to add a bit more to the entrance, so I added my cast iron Victorian planters I got last time from the flea market. I also have a pair of rabbits. I think one is Peter Rabbit and the other is Josephine Rabbit, his mom, but I could be wrong. I did pick them up 2 years ago at an estate sale, and they are one of my favorite garden pieces. Josephine Rabbit's feet are broken, so that's why there is a wood platform. So eventually I'll find a nicer fix for it. And I wanted a space to feel enchanting and romantic, and I think adding my garden statues and flower pots really helped me envision what the space can grow into. And gardening is so humbling. You can't force something to grow. It all takes time. So I'm trusting the process since we definitely aren't done with this section. We still have work to add lattice to the pergola, adding the wrought iron table, a fountain, more flowers, some cast cement decor. I'm definitely loving the fact that we have more lizards and pollinators visiting. The dogs love having more areas to smell and search for things. So I am excited to work more on this area, but we do have another heat wave coming and my back does need a break. So we are switching gears and going to start another room inside the house and doing my office makeover. So definitely follow and stay tuned for part 1 of that makeover coming up soon.